I hope you all are doing well. So now today's class that we are going to focus about under the topic of teaching methodology, right? The topic of teaching methodology. Today I'm going to talk about the sequencing. Sometime the student has a question that how to start a class, what type of sequence I have to make, what type of category of poses, which different poses I have to use to start my class, what kind of theme I have to use to start my class, and how I have to follow up. Sometimes people have a question that by which yoga postures, through which yoga postures I have to start. Am I starting with the forward bending? Am I starting with the backward bending? So there is a question mark. So there is a one set of sequence that we can follow if we are teaching a particular group or random people too. So that can minimize the risk of injuries, and you can flow with your students and get maximum range of movement and their strength too, my friends. So sequencing is basically standing, like how we have to go, what kind of postures we have to follow. So many questions comes to your mind. So when we talk about the sequencing, sequencing of posture. Of postures. So standing. In the standing, guys, if we talk about the standing postures here, so standing posture is like a body. This is the body where we can feel. Like, am I able to stand properly or not? So standing postures, no more dynamic movement I'm asking about. Like with the beginners, or you don't have any pre-existing history of the student sometime. So as the beginner, when you talk about that, standing posture that give you the base, that give you the support, if the person is able to stand, he or she can easily, thoroughly go to the other sequencing of the postures too. So standing is your body. First, feel your body. How am I standing? Am I going on the one side? Am I going on the other side? My body is falling forward, backward. So first try to find out the balance against the gravity. Then we talk about that standing is the body. Seated. After that, we have to start with the seated forward extensions or seated pose you can do, whether it is backward bending or forward bending. So seated is your action. So seated posture is your action that you going to do now. In the standing is the static movement. I'm practicing asana posture here. This is the static. So less blood I have to use and less blood flow, and the blood circulation get easily flow over there. And heart has not to pump more harder too. When I'm going for the dynamic, then the muscle need more oxygen, blood has to circulate with the high speed, with the target muscles. Seated is the action. Again, body I have feel in standing. Seated is the action. When I'm going and seated on the ground, I can feel what is the next action I'm going to do now. After that, we can do forward extension, the forward bending which you say, the forward extension, try to lengthen your spine in this. So now we see standing is the body, seated is the action, and then forward extension we are going, so stretching the posterior part of the muscle of the body. Then after that, until sometimes people say why we don't use rotation, twisting in between. Because until my back part of the body is not stretched, front part of the body is not stretched. If I'm trying to go for the rotation or inversions, before that, spine is not aligned, guys. For twisting, for inversion, spine has to be in one line. Otherwise, it creates so much damage to your disc and impinge your spinal nerves too. That's why when there is no set sequence in your yoga practices, more injuries comes to the body. Disc herniation, disc prolapse, right? Muscle spasm, overstretching of the muscle sprain, muscle strain, ligament tear, n number of injuries that occurs in your body. So as we discussed with the forward extension, now we do forward extension. After that we come to the backward extension to find the balance in your muscle from the front part of the body and the back part of the body. So after the forward extension is your backward extension. Now we see standing is the body. My client is able to stand. We have done all the standing poses. Seated action, we came to the action now before that the body feels some proprioception, that how to move, which part I have to feel before to get into the particular category of the poses. Then I go for the forward extension. I stretch all the back muscles and release the pressure from my hamstrings and my lower back area. Backward extension releases all the pressure from my front part of the body, a corrective stretch, nice stretch, and strengthen my spinal area too. As we feel now, the stress is released. Muscle is flexible on the front part of the body, on the back part of the body, able to stand, strengthening the lower limb and the upper body too. Then after we introduce twisting action. Right, the twisting action, after that, the twisting poses we introduce. So after this twisting action, now I release all the knots, all the compression, decompression, one side to other side. I feel good range of motion on the both side. Now I feel my hamstring is relaxed, my core is balanced. Right? My hamstring is relaxed, my core is balanced, and my shoulders are open, no stiffness on my neck muscles. Then after that, now I can feel my client is able to go to the inversions or the headstand. So after, in the last category, we introduce inversion and headstand. So inversions. So then you can introduce the inversions to your students. So preparation, guys, in the standing, first you feel that what is the posture of my client when into the standing posture. Sometimes category changes. Sometimes you have teaching therapeutic yoga, yoga therapy, person with the problem, not able to stand, then change. Then you have to start with seated first. Right? Start with seated first. And more restorative poses you have to add here. That you can start with the supine position also. Right, the supine position, when you lay down on your spine. So where the person has a problem with the neck pain, back pain, or any issues, just change the sequence. Then rather to start with standing, because client is not able to stand. So in the laying down position first, restorative. Release the stress from the body first. So no more action, no more sitting, and no more standing. Then we change, we start with the supine position, then with the seated. Then you can check gentle forward extension, backward extension according to the problems. And then you come to the standing, and then you come to the twisting, and then finally to the inversions. So your pose heal your body, and the pose itself act as a preventive medicine. Stretches itself act as a preventive medicine to your students. So yoga is not a black magic, right? It is a prevention, that if you are doing it properly with the sequence and regular follow-up is there, not from your side, from your client side too, from your student side too, then only you can make a good stress or good stretch to the body, then only you can gain the therapeutic effects from the practices, and that will give you the fruitful result for your life. So this is the way how to sequencing the posture for normal person, for normal client, standing, seated, forward extension, backward extension, twisting, inversions. And as you feel the client is able to do, in between you can add arm balancing poses. So arm balance. Then you can do the arm balance in between twisting and inversions. You have to check the range of motion and strength to your student, otherwise sometimes more injuries happens in two categories with the inversions and the arm balancing. So you will be the master, you will be the observer that time when you are teaching to your student, my dear friends. So this is a set sequence, or according to the student with the problems you can change also, as we have discussed earlier, and this way we have to follow the sequencing of the posture with your students. Any queries, any questions when you start teaching or when you practice with your student, any problems that bothers you, right? You are feel free to ask anytime, most welcome. So till then, enjoy your day. Namaste. Have a nice day.